I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so
tonight belonged to Jack Della Maddalena. He's an awesome human being. I've sat down with him several times and had some conversations. Nice guy, quiet guy, a man of few words, but I tell you what, that was an incredible fight tonight.
And if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it.
It's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with.
I don't think it'll be an easy fight for Jack, but I believe in Jack. I think he's got that X factor. He's got that hunger there. He's got the ticker. And, just like with Bilal, just like with Burns before, I think he can do the impossible.
Before we get started, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's dive into it. Several top MMA voices have now weighed in on the looming showdown between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. Stephen Thompson gave his perspective on the hurdles Makhachev might face moving up to welterweight, noting that even though Islam is powerful, most fighters in the division cut down from over 205 pounds. He acknowledged that the matchup won't be simple for Islam, but admitted he's excited by the idea and hopes the UFC makes it a reality. I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210, 215. Some of the guys that I faced would walk around at that weight.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I faced would walk around at that weight. I think the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JD might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Bilal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Ali Abdelaziz later confirmed that Islam will in fact be fighting for the undisputed welterweight championship in 2025, not for an interim belt. According to him, Jack Della Maddalena holds the current title. But if Jack is unavailable, the UFC has already lined up a backup plan. Someone else will challenge Makhachev for the vacant belt. Abdelaziz stated the arrangement has already been signed off by Dana White and Hunter Campbell.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, there will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunter said. Everybody said, and that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seemed like he's healthy, this title will be vacated and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Meanwhile, analyst Luke Thomas commended Della Maddalena's crisp stand-up performance in his most recent outing. While Bilal Muhammad also looked solid, Thomas felt Jack truly separated himself. Still, he didn't shy away from addressing some flaws in Jack's game, like defensive lapses and questionable takedown setups, which he believes could be exploited by someone as sharp and calculated as Makhachev.
I really think that, you knew the striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today. in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound number one guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Luke went on to say he's genuinely intrigued by Makhachev's possible jump to 170. Though he's curious about a potential Islam versus Topuria fight, he's more focused on seeing how Islam performs in a higher weight class. While acknowledging that the move is risky, Thomas emphasized the upside. Makhachev could secure a second UFC title and further solidify his legacy.
I have to tell you, Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilya versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Thomas also pointed out that a fight between Islam and Jack doesn't eliminate the idea of Islam facing Ilya Topuria in the future. Even if Islam comes up short at welterweight, he can always return to lightweight to pursue that clash. He said fans could witness something truly special if Islam remains at 170 long-term, adding that Makhachev deserves the chance to chase double champ status, given his past risks, like taking on Volkanovski twice.
Makhachev and JDM next doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilya at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his ass kicked, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country. He's earned it.
Javier Mendez spoke about whether Jack would be Islam's biggest challenge yet, admitting it's hard to say, but made one thing clear: Islam wants the fight and is fully ready for it. He praised Makhachev's elite technique and constant drive, saying Islam is operating at a level no one Jack has faced can match. Mendez also noted that moving up suits Islam physically. He'll no longer be undersized and should be a true contender in the welterweight ranks.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam is a whole different animal than Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Robert Whittaker addressed the uncertainty surrounding Islam's transition to welterweight. He explained that adjusting to a new weight class can bring new physical demands and strategic shifts. Even so, Whittaker expressed full confidence in Islam's skill set, saying he can replicate everything Belal Muhammad does, but with more precision and efficiency.
Definitely. But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Reflecting on Jack's recent win, Whittaker said that while it was a clear victory, it was still competitive. He believes a matchup between Islam and Jack would be tough for both men. Still, he praised Jack for his toughness, drive, and that unpredictable spark that makes him dangerous. Just like Jack proved himself against names like Bilal and Gilbert Burns, Whittaker is confident he can step up to this challenge as well.
And the fight, I thought Jack handedly had the fight, but it was a fight. Okay, so I don't think it'll be an easy fight for Jack, but I believe in Jack. I think he's got that X factor. He's got that hunger there. You know, he's got the ticker. And, you know, just like with Bilal, just like with Burns before, I think he can do the impossible.
Gilbert Burns also showed support for Makhachev moving up in weight. He said the 170-pound division may be more suitable since Islam has struggled with the 155 cut. Burns acknowledged Islam as the top pound-for-pound fighter right now, but warned that a bout with Jack Della would be far more competitive than some people believe. He also noted that Jack has been training with top-tier names like Craig Jones and Alexander Volkanovski, giving him key insights and high-level preparation. Burns hasn't broken down the full fight yet, but said it's a matchup that definitely deserves attention.
Islam's working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's number one pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Dan Hardy offered a realistic assessment of Jack's upside and Islam's potential limits. He said while Jack impressed him against Bilal, he isn't entirely sold on Makhachev's ability to thrive at 170 pounds. Hardy respects Islam's control at lightweight, but doesn't see that dominance carrying over. He raised valid points about the physical strain of welterweight bouts, especially over 5 rounds, and the possibility of size being a major factor.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Bilal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight, wouldn't he?
Daniel Cormier added that the Islam versus Jack matchup would come with high stakes and serious fan interest. If Jack keeps up his current level, Cormier said, the fight becomes even more intriguing, especially since Islam hasn't yet competed at 170. While DC acknowledged Islam's strength and wrestling pedigree, he also voiced concerns. With recent reports suggesting Islam had slimmed down in preparation for International Fight Week, Cormier questioned if he'd have enough time to properly bulk up for a new weight class.
Jack Della looks the way he did last week, and it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude, but in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170?
He went on to highlight that what makes this bout so compelling isn't just the styles, it's the storyline. Jack recently took the welterweight crown from Bilal, and now he's facing a challenge from a reigning champion in a lower division. Cormier believes the buildup is packed with uncertainty and drama, and that only makes the potential fight even more interesting.
A lot of questions. But it's a big-time fight, and we'll get into the X's and O's as we get closer. But right now, we're talking the story. We're talking about a guy that just beat Bilal Muhammad to become champion, now getting challenged by a 155-pound champion.
Henry Cejudo gave a bold prediction. He believes Islam will beat Jack and become a two-weight world champion. He sees it as the next logical step in Makhachev's legacy. Kamaru Usman had a different take. He backed Jack, praising his calmness under pressure and the skill set he brings to the cage. Both Cejudo and Usman expect the fight to go down in Abu Dhabi this October. That would mean Islam versus Topuria would have to wait.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Just recently, Michael Bisping had high praise for Della Maddalena, saying his win over Bilal was a huge moment for his career. Bisping didn't just praise his in-cage skills. He also called Jack a respectful and down-to-earth athlete. He said Jack is now clearly ready for the next step, and that facing someone like Islam is the logical next move.
Tonight belonged to Jack Della Maddalena. He's an awesome human being. I've sat down with him several times and had some conversations. Nice guy, quiet guy, a man of few words, but I tell you what, that was an incredible fight tonight. And he'll take on Islam Makhachev. He doesn't care. He wants to be a part of the biggest fights possible. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. That's the fight that's going to happen. And that's the fight that I will be doing a video on next.
Ian Machado Gary also weighed in. He gave major props to Makhachev, saying if he comes for the welterweight belt, the entire division should be on high alert. He described Islam as smart, technical, and deadly, and noted that removing the weight cut could actually make him more dangerous than ever. Gary added that Makhachev represents the modern MMA athlete, precise, calm, and relentlessly effective.
And if that man turns up and says, I want to be next, then I think everyone in the welterweight division goes, okay. He's an absolute disaster for everyone in the division if he comes up and doesn't have to cut weight. He'll still be big, he'll still be strong. He's the perfect example of the new evolution of fighters. Great everywhere.
That wraps up today's update. Who do you think walks away with the welterweight title, Islam or Jack? Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more fight content like this.